So I've been freaking out about making this video, and I've even procrastinated a few weeks on getting everything together for it. And just starting this video, I've gone through most of my coffee. And it's about the Bambu Labs X1 3D printer you see behind me. They reached out to me probably about 2 months ago at this point and asked if I wanted to try one out here on the channel and share it with you guys. And obviously that's an awesome opportunity to get, and I wanted to jump on it. And I saw that Matt at Scale Builders Guild has one and he raves about it. And I think James Knight at Knight Custom has one. So I was really into it. The problem is I don't have a ton of 3D printer experience. And so I relayed that to them and they said, we kind of want to send you one even more now because this printer is set up for newbies. So they can get into it nice and easily, and everything that they need is right here to get going. And so I felt a little bit better about getting one here. I want to do more stuff with 3D printing on the channel. I've had 3D printers before, and just a couple of them, and I know how to print something out, but my big problem here was I don't have the technical know-how to pass along to you guys with this thing. And you know, with RC cars, I've been doing that for 40 years. So when I make videos on those products, I can offer a little bit of something for everyone in those videos. And I was afraid I couldn't do that here. And I again went back and forth with Bambu, and they said, we think you should really try it. And so I got it in, and I just been staring at it for the longest time. I unboxed it. It is a very cool machine. But you know, I wasn't sure what I would tell you guys. And I finally just landed on, hey, let me just give you the experience I have of getting started, pretty much as someone that's new into this. So unfortunately, I can't tell you about the PID rates and nozzle flow and this and that and the different filaments that you could put in. But I could give you a basic understanding of, hey, I've got a little bit of knowledge, and am I going to be able to go and print things? And I think that if I get started with just printing some of the files that are out there from some of the amazing creators that have posted their STL files and such, you know, for everybody to buy or print, that would get me hooked. That would get me going even more, and I could just build my knowledge from there. So if you're with me, I think this video is going to be for you. If you've been wanting to get into 3D printers because you see the cool stuff that's out there and you want to be able to start doing that stuff for yourself, even if it's just printing existing files, this video is going to be for you. So when the X1 Carbon arrives, it's really well packaged. It comes in a cardboard box, just a little bit bigger than the case that you see here. And all of the components are nestled inside. They've got some parts that are screwed down so nothing moves around while it's being shipped. There's some filament at the bottom, and there's a little instruction card on the top, and that's where you get started. It's a small little instruction sheet, but it walks you through getting this thing up and running. So you're gonna have to remove some packaging, some styrofoam. You're gonna have to unscrew the parts just so everything can operate freely, obviously. But there is no hard setup to it. It's, if you have a little bit of RC car knowledge, you could pretty much get everything together here, I think, without a problem. The only issue I could possibly see for someone is getting the ribbon into the back of the control panel screen here. That was a little bit tricky. But you know, just take your time with it and you should do fine. As I mentioned, you know, it comes with some filaments and it goes into this AMS here. This helps keep the filaments sealed up and kind of airtight so nothing happens to the filaments. You know, if you leave them out in the air over time, I guess they could go get brittle on you. But one thing I noticed is when you're loading up the filaments, you really need to push it into the receptacle with a little bit of force in order to get the feed going. I spent a little time just trying to feed it with a light push and nothing was happening. So that was my biggest hang up, I think, with setting this thing up. So, you know, once you go get it all set up, the big deal with this printer is it uses AI technology and its cameras to really sense everything. And it's the way they have the programming set up. It does all of the setup work for you as far as adjusting the bed height, or when you start printing, noticing that if there's a problem with the print itself. So actually, when I got this thing up and going, I was pretty excited and went to do my first print, and it went and stopped on its own. And that's because the filament had pulled up and it was a little globby. I don't know the exact term again, but it stopped itself. So it takes away that worry of getting that print started right. And, you know, if you walk away, it will determine, you know, if a print goes bad on you. It's got enough sensors in there that it's constantly doing the work. And what's even cooler is a lot of it's done on your phone. They have an app that you could go and install, and you can monitor your print and, you know, check what filaments you're using. And again, I'm still getting into all this, but I just found the ability of this machine to be above and beyond what I have experienced before. So it stopped that first print on me, and I was a little bummed because I thought it would just go up and do its thing. And I wound up taking the damaged print off, and I said, you know what, let's just start it again. And I was actually printing this, they call it a benchy, I guess. It's in the programming files that they have on here. So you go and do some test prints, but I went and fired it up again, and the second print, it printed out the benchy. And this is an amazing print for basically my first print. Yes, the machine did all the work, but I don't really see, there's maybe one little line that's a slight flaw, and I mean, that's big, you gotta look up close for it. But that is an amazing looking print, and I was just blown away that I was able to really just get everything set up within, I would say, like an hour and a half or so, and have this really cool test print to look at. Now let's take a closer look at the machine itself. I mean, this is a really nicely done machine. It's got a metal case around it. We've got the front glass, even with a little lever here so we can open up the door, and this is all sensor controlled inside. As I mentioned before, there's a system that goes and levels the bed. It has LiDAR. You can even sense when the lead screws need maintenance, because when I actually turned this on, it said that it needed more grease, and there was a little bit of grease piled up at the bottom. I just went and spread it on the lead screw, and everything was fine after that. But when you go and start this thing up for the first time, I will say it is very noisy, and when you're operating the system itself, it's pretty noisy when it's running through a print. But you get used to it after a little bit. But with the capability of this machine, it quickly becomes acceptable. They've got lighting inside because they have a camera system that will allow you to view the print from your cell phone, from the Bambu Labs Studio app, as it's going along, so you can monitor it. Back to the startup process, you know, they have the bed that heats up. They do give you some glue to help secure the print down, and they even give you additional bed sheets when these wear out, I believe. And then the machine will go through its startup process. It actually poops, from what a lot of people say. It'll actually dump out the first bit of filament out the back of the machine before it starts the print. So it just has all these processes that it goes through in order to get everything set up so it prints properly. And they kind of have to, because this machine prints faster than most other machines out there. In fact, from what I've been reading, is this machine will cut down the print time by half in comparison to other machines out there. But there's fans inside to cool the filament. And then up top here, this is the control panel. So you'll be able to go in and you know, check the different systems, check the different settings that are running. You can import your files. Here are some of the example files that they have. And there's even a help screen as well. So there's a lot to go through. I wouldn't be afraid of it. I actually, you know, was able to just figure everything out, and again, get this printed very easily. There's the AMS up top. What's really cool about this is you could print in multiple colors, and this machine takes care of everything. This feed here, so it keeps your filaments protected, and you know, it will auto feed whatever filament your project's running. And what's really cool about their filaments is there's an RFID tag on it. So once you put the filament in there, the machine reads it, and it will set up a lot of the parameters for you. So again, if you're scared about setting up the different types of filaments, because there's so many different ones that are out there, here's an example of some of the different ones that I have. I actually have a few more rolls, but you know, they have different temperatures, different feed rates, and that RFID tag will help set everything up for you, so you don't have to worry about setting it up. And you can still bypass that if you want to use your own filaments. You'll just have to go and set up the parameters yourself. But this just takes a lot of that guesswork out of it, especially when you're getting into it like I am. You know, you don't want the frustration of failing with all your prints or having a print come apart. So I guess basically, you know, this machine here is really an excellent entry-level machine. And from what I've done with it so far, I'm very impressed. Let's just do a quick print. So there's the part. This only took probably less than 5 minutes. I think it actually tells you on there how long the print takes, but it was probably less than 5 minutes. I was too mesmerized by watching the thing print so quickly. And if you watch the channel, you probably recognize it. I printed it in green before. It's a trailer hitch mount to adapt the axial trailer to the TRX-4M, but really good looking print. There's just a little bit hanging down on some of these overhangs, which I'll just knock off with a hobby knife. But other than that, it came out really good. And obviously this machine is capable of doing so much more, but I'm just happy with this. I mean, getting a file, and actually it was an STL file, had to bring it into the Bambu Studio and convert it. And I believe they use step files. And again, still new, guys. So I was able to convert it easily, not knowing too much, and threw it on the SD card and got it set up in the machine to print. So I'm pretty excited about that. And it was really easy for me to do with just some basic knowledge. And again, there's a ton of videos out there that will teach you through it. The main point here is this machine is very easy for a newcomer to get into 3D printing with. And you don't need to be scared with it, as I was. You know, I still am. Even with just a little bit of experience before, I was much more at comfort working with the Bambu machine. It takes care of so much for you. And then, you know, as you progress into the 3D printing world, it's going to be able to handle all the needs that you have, I think, from the research that I've done so far on it. So I'm really excited that I have this machine here. I'm going to keep using it here on the channel. You know, as I progress with learning 3D printing, I'll have some more stuff on, and I'm pretty excited about it. I know there's a lot of people that want to get into 3D printing and print some of those files that are out there that are easily available. And Bambu Labs has printers beyond the X1, so if you have a different budget or different needs, they might have something that fits, you know, what you're looking for. I'll have links for it in the video description below. Let me know what type of 3D printing videos you like to see going forward.